Okay, so today we're going to look a little bit more deeply at the eyes and how we can use our eyes to decrease pain and potentially even increase movement. Okay, so it kind of goes hand in hand. So to cover this, I want to go over a little bit of background first, a kind of a general piece of information, which is really handy just to have in the back of your mind when it comes to just general aches, pains, and injuries. And where do I want to be? I want to be on the whiteboard. Okay, so imagine this little person here has pain in the ankle. Okay. Oh, that's yellow's terrible. Pain in the ankle. Okay, pain down here. Okay, this message has to get all the way up the body into the brain. Okay, so we need to turn the volume up on here to 10. Okay, and that's a radio. However, if I have a pain or a problem in my face, to get a similar kind of pain score, the volume here might only be 2. Okay, just because the distance that the nerve messages have to travel to get into my brain where they're sensed is much, much shorter. Okay, so if we think about things that are closer to the brain are kind of louder in terms of our senses. Okay, so our eyes are directly connected to our brain. So using our eyes can be very, very effective in helping to desensitize our body from pain. Okay, there's a whole therapy about it called EMDR. I don't know a huge amount of details about it, but a lot of the ground I'm covering today will be part of EMDR, I'm sure. So we can use our eyes to essentially desensitize, because we can, if we turn the volume up by using our eyes or other parts of the face, I'm not going to cover that today, okay, predominantly the jaw, but other parts of the face. Yeah, cool, that's good. To essentially turn up the volume of the radio that's really, really close to our brain, which helps then to desensitize the rest of our body. Now, not only that, it is interconnected with other parts of our brain, okay, in very key areas of the brain. So I'm just looking at this picture over here. I'm going to scroll down and find there's another picture just a little bit below that I want to go over a little bit as well. So this is the eye, okay, and this is the optic nerve, okay, cranial nerve 2, okay, we have 12 pairs of cranial nerves. This is cranial nerve 2. They're basically numbered from top to bottom in location, depending on where they are. So this travels from the eye, from the back of the eye, from the retina, through a place called the optic chiasm. Okay, this bit here, let's highlight it so you can see it a little bit easier. This little dangly set of balls there, okay, it literally does look like gonads in the brain. Okay, that's the pituitary gland. Okay, that's responsible for a lot of our hormone release. Yeah, seriously. Okay. The optic nerve passes right past, almost directly next to the pituitary gland. Okay. In this area here, we have the hypothalamus. Okay, the hypothalamus is our master gland. It controls all of our other glands. Okay, so the vision passes very, very close to our hypothalamus. Just underneath these red stripes here, okay, that is our pineal gland. Now, our pineal gland helps us to produce melatonin, which helps promote sleep, amongst other things. The pineal gland is often associated with the third eye, kind of spiritual vision. Right? So that's where the pineal gland is located. So you can see from the optic nerve terminates just above the pineal gland. I'm going to go a different color here. Okay, so this green area here, just on top, I'm going to move on to this section next. Okay, just on top of the brainstem, which is this second green area. Okay, this green area here, that's the brainstem. So we're going to focus on this bit here. That's the thalamus. The thalamus is basically a control center. Virtually every message in our brain passes through the thalamus. Okay, so anything coming up from my body, whether it be like a toe movement or whether it be some sort of transmission from my organs, that is coming up through the thalamus to be passed on to whatever area of the brain it needs to be passed on to. Again, the optic nerve is housed, or it terminates within the thalamus. So it's a key component to our health. If we think about every message going in and out of our brain has to pass through the thalamus, and the optic nerve is part of the thalamus. So we can use our vision to change how we feel. Okay, there is more to it than just the optic nerve. So the optic nerve is one component. Just want to, where do I want to go now? Yeah, there. Okay, so the other component, let's stop annotation. I need to clear those pictures. Clear those. Stop annotation again. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Let's go with that one. Okay, so this is taking the optic nerve mainly out. Okay, so let's draw in some other stuff. Okay, so we'll go with yellow because yellow is always nerves in anatomy. So to control the eye, so to get eye movement, we have three other nerves. So optic nerve is cranial nerve 2, which takes this route here. Then we have cranial nerve 3, which resides, so we've got the mesencephalon, okay, which is the top part of the brainstem. I'm going a bit deeper here than usual. Okay, the top part of the brainstem, the mesencephalon, I don't know its exact route, but that's going to come into the eyes. That controls our pupil dilation. Okay, we've also got cranial nerve 4, which resides in the pons here, which comes and controls kind of left and right movement, and 6, which is a little bit down here actually. It's actually in the medulla. Okay, so cranial nerves 3 and 4 reside in the pons, and cranial nerve 6 is in the medulla. I think I said that right the first time. If not, that is right the second time. So 3 and 4 are in the pons area of the brainstem, and cranial nerve 6 is in the medulla part of the brainstem. So they control eye movement. So again, pupil dilation, left, right, up, down, and kind of, if I was to tilt my head, it kind of keeps my eyes level. So my eyes actually kind of rotate as I twist my head. Okay, we just don't really notice that. Again, when we trigger areas of our brainstem, that allows us to release serotonin. From our brain down into the body, and serotonin is a pain reliever, happy chemical. So if someone has anxiety, if someone has chronic pain, there's a strong chance, or there's a strong correlation with low serotonin. If we can use our eyes to help decrease pain, because every message into and out of my brain passes through the brainstem, and it also passes through the thalamus. So cranial nerve 2, we can control or de-stimulate our body from pain by essentially turning, oops, wrong one, turning the radio up here. Okay, which in turn, if we turn this radio up, we're turning this one down. Okay, so the volume on a 10 might change now to because we've done some movements with our eyes, that might change down to a 6, because serotonin's a pain reliever, and we've increased the amount of volume that our brain is making, because stuff that is close to the brain makes more noise. Okay, it's easier for my brain to listen to stuff that's going on when it's close. Okay, so this is really useful with pain, and it's also kind of evolutionary speaking. Okay, so and movement wise, so let's say, I'll tell this story a lot, you might have heard this kind of one before. Let's say I'm a hunter-gatherer. Okay, it's 5,000, 10,000, 30,000 years ago, okay? And I'm in the forest and I'm out on a hunt. I've got a spear in one hand and I've got my buddies behind me, okay? And all of a sudden we spot a deer. That we creep up as close as we can to that deer without making any noise, but it spots us. Now we've got to chase it, okay, because we're hungry. We haven't eaten in weeks, okay, not a big meal. Okay, and this deer is a fantastic meal. It's going to feed the entire family. So as I'm running through the forest, the ground isn't level. Okay, so my eyes kind of have to be aware of where the ground is and what it's doing. They also need to be aware of what the deer is doing, where it's going, how it's changing direction. And if I'm running around and I'm fast, okay, my eyes need to stabilize. Okay, so if I'm running around, I need my eyes to be able to not jiggle around inside my head. So I need those muscles to be working really, really hard to be able to maintain a stable gaze on a target. Okay, so that's my deer running through the forest. Okay. If my eyes are jiggling around, everything's going to be blurry. I'm going to get dizzy. I'm probably going to vomit. Okay, I'm not going to be able to chase that deer and hunt it down. Not only that, my eyes are then involved in stabilizing my shoulder so that I can pull my arm back and throw that spear and have it go hopefully on target, direct to that deer and wound it or kill it, okay, so that I can go and eat. So if my eyes aren't working properly, I can't focus close or far away. And if I can't kind of use my peripheral vision to analyze the ground without kind of directly looking at it and the scenery in front of me, so I can duck and dodge and weave from low-lying branches and all these kinds of obstacles that might be in my way. And also then need to be able to control my body to be able to throw the spear, to be able to injure the deer so that I can go home a champion and eat. Okay, and my eyes need to do all of that without me thinking, which is pretty cool. Now, obviously nowadays, we don't do any of that. Okay, the most extreme it gets for most people is running. So my eyes have to do a little bit of work, but the ground we generally run on is pretty flat. So we don't have to really use our peripheral vision too much for seeing down and for dangers around us. Okay, we're generally not running through forests and trees, and we're definitely not hunting for the vast majority of people. Some people are, but not many. And so we don't train our eyes. So today I'm going to teach you some stuff. The treaded tree roots, yeah, they're slippery when wet, and they're gonna break a leg if you hit them hard. Yeah. So today we're going to learn some simple exercises to help train our eyes. Now, Mathilde mentioned EMDR, that she's aware of it, so she might already know some of this stuff, but others of you might not. So we're going to go into it. So there's a few things we can do with our eyes. Okay, so we can go across, we can go up and down, okay, fairly basic. We can go in and out, okay, so we can focus on stuff that's far away and close. We can also turn our head, okay, we're getting that rotation in. Okay, so these are kind of some of the basic things we can do, and we can do by flicking, okay, they're called saccades, okay, all of which will help to train our eyes, okay, and we can do, and there's various other things we can do in there as well. We'll do the basics, okay, but try and remember this when it comes to a pain problem that you might be experiencing. So if you sprain a knee or an ankle, you can use this to help desensitize from pain. Okay, cool. So we'll start off with eye saccades. I'm going to go left and right, okay, and it's just looking left and right at two separate targets. Okay, you don't need to use your thumbs or fingers, okay, or a pen or whatever. You can use the edges of your computer screen, okay, or the edges of a window. Two prominent points, not a million miles away. Okay, so you know I'm just looking at the house either side of my computer, so it's a little bit further away. It's maybe 30 feet away, and I can look at the gutters on either side of that house. Okay, I've just got to spend a moment gazing at each one. Okay, so hopefully you saw my eyes moving. Okay, the closer the targets are, the further my eyes have to move. So if my targets are here, okay, that's a bit too close. My eyes have to move relatively far, okay, and that is a big, strong stimulation. Okay, if my arms are further away, my eyes travel less distance to go left and right. Okay, but is a less strong stimulation. Okay, so the further away, lower stimulation, closer up tends to be a stronger stimulation, just because my eyes have got to work harder, they've got further to travel. Now you can do kind of distant with my arms at full length and quite far apart. I wouldn't go too far apart, that's quite hard. Okay, so 20-30 degrees is kind of the maximum you really want to do. It's just going to be really hard for your eyes to move that far. Okay, let's just check the messages there. Cool. Next up, smooth pursuits. So smooth pursuits are tracking a target. So I'm going to use a pen as a target, and I'm going to go from right to left, just keeping my gaze on the tip of that pen, okay, as it goes by. So just as a general stimulation, I'm going to do 3 from right to left and 3 from left to right. You can vary the speed, okay, but we don't want to go too fast, okay, because if you go too fast, you'll lose track. Okay, you won't actually track the target. Your eyes will judder, and you'll kind of miss it and catch it up, and miss it and catch it up, and miss it and catch it up. So you don't want to go too fast. You want to be able to maintain a steady eye contact with the tip or your target at all times. Okay, and again, it's just a general stimulation, left and right. Okay, and my eyes are just smoothly tracking that target. Third thing you can do is near and far. Okay, so again, we can do this as a smooth pursuit or as a saccade. So if I'm doing it as a saccade, I'll have my thumb or finger or a target just out in front of me, and then I have an object in the distance that I want to look at. So that's maybe it's 20 feet away, okay, or the other side of a room. So let's say you're sat on the sofa at one end of a room, and at the other end of the room, there's a picture frame, and you use that, okay, and it's maybe 10 feet, 20 feet away. Okay, so near and far, okay, this is excellent for pain relief. Okay, so near far is good for pain relief in particular. So I want to focus on the object close, far away, close, far away, close, far away, close, far away, close, far away. Okay. And that's making my pupils kind of change their strength. Okay, so they're thickening up and they're spreading out. Okay, so that's stimulating the cranial nerves 3, 4, 6. Okay, also the optic nerve a little bit, because you're changing perspective relatively quickly. So you're stimulating all of those areas of the brain very close together. What else we got? Forgive me, I did have a list and I lost my list. Another one. Pause the video now. Again, if I'm running through the woods, my head's going to be kind of, or my head won't be wobbling like that, but it will want to wobble like that, okay? And my neck has to kind of stabilize my head, and my eyes are controlling those muscles of my neck to stabilize my head, so my head's not wobbling around like this when I run, okay, or doing this when I run, okay? So again, that's going to help eye stabilization. So we can also use a target and use head tilts. Okay, or head turns, maintaining focus on a target. Okay, so we've got 5 different ways there of stimulating your eyes, and there are many others. To find out more information on that kind of stuff, look up a Z Health. I think it's Z Health Performance over on YouTube. He's got many videos there on how to use the eyes to improve performance, and eye exercises to help improve health and performance. Just one more thing on this. Okay, so knowing now that we've got essentially muscles in the eyes, okay, we all knew we had muscles in the eyes, but we can use them to enhance our strength and movement as well. So let's say I've got a problem at my right shoulder, and it's kind of more at the front of my right shoulder. So I know that my right shoulder and these muscles, they are flexor muscles. Okay, so flexor muscles always bring a body part more towards the center of my body. So my pec major will bring my arm from out to in. My bicep will bring my forearm from out to in. Okay, my shoulder will bring my arm from, or assist in bringing my arm from out to in. Okay, so they are flexor muscles. So if I want to enhance the output of those muscles, I can use my eyes to assist. Okay, and I want to use the flexor muscles on the right hand side of my body, of my eyes, to assist the right hand side of my body in terms of shoulder movement. So if I've got right shoulder pain and it's more at the front, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stimulate the flexor muscles on the right hand side. So that's the inside of my left eye. Okay, so it's, I want to turn my eyes to the right. Okay, let's keep it basic. I want to turn my eyes right. So eyes right. Okay, I might have a target. There's a little thing on the wall there I'm just looking at. Okay, I could use a thumb. Okay, but if that shoulder's painful, I might not want to use that. I could turn my head and look at a target with my left hand. Okay, so now I'm using the flexor muscles of the right hand side to stimulate the flexor muscles on my whole right hand side. See, with an area of pain, I can use it for that, okay, but technically it's working my entire right hand side. So that will help assist my hip flexors, that will help assist my hamstrings, it will help assist my shin muscles, okay. Obviously you need to be doing very, very specific exercises to be able to do this, and like a leg exercise, you're not going to do it while you're running or anything like that. You're going to go, I've got a hip pain, I'm going to run like this for a little while just to stimulate my right hip flexor, because my right hip flexor is a bit sore while I'm running. Okay, it's not for that, it's more for a rehab time. Like before, you can use it as part of warm-ups if you're feeling imbalanced. Okay, so you can go, right, okay, I'm a bit imbalanced, my right hip flexor's tight, just going to stimulate my right hand side, and then I'm going to do some sort of right hip flexor exercise or right hip movement to stimulate that. Okay, I might do it at the same time, or right shoulder. Okay, big and slow movements. Okay, and that is really firing that right hand side of my brain, my right hand side of my flexors. It's really building a big picture of my brain, decreasing pain and kind of amplifying the message to that side of my body. To get a bit more technical, okay, stuff that I would go into, but maybe not so much you, that's fine. But if you remember this is like bonus material. We talked about the front side right, okay, because of the way our brain and body works, I can also use this for the back side on my left. So same head position. If I've got a rear shoulder pain on my left hand side, I could do exactly the same eye movement, the exact same thing, and it would stimulate that. So essentially by doing this, my body wants to turn that way. Okay, and in reality, if I was running, that's what's happening. Okay, so as my eyes turn left, my left shoulder comes forward as I'm running because my head is counter rotating. And as my right shoulder comes forward, it's difficult doing it on the camera. Okay, my head is counter rotating, and this side muscles are firing harder than this side of muscles. Okay, so these ones are in stretch. So the inside here and the outside here, they're in stretch. And as I turn, it switches. Okay, so it's to do with our gait cycle and how we move, but we can kind of artificially stimulate that through turning our head, okay, focusing on targets. Okay, general stimulation is kind of treating both the same. Okay, could be up and down as well. Could be near and far. Could be head movements, okay, or rotations. We can do all of that, but we can preferentially treat that by picking specific injuries and kind of having this extra bit of information and go, okay, so I want to fire the flexors on my right hand side of my body. So I need these ones, I need to be looking right for the right hand side front of my body. I need to be looking left for the left-hand side front of my body, predominantly. And if I've got problems at the back, I need to flip that. Okay, so back, right-hand side of my body, looking left. Back, left-hand side of my body, looking right. If we're getting a bit more technical. There are all sorts of weird things we can do with the eyes. That is helpful. Okay, just the general stuff helps to decrease pain, helps to release serotonin. It's a big message for the brain. Anything eyes, mouth, tongue, jaw, inner ear, big messages for the brain, and even head movement. Okay, big messages for the brain. Okay, ankle movements, wrist movements, they're kind of far away. So they are a much smaller stimulation for the brain. Okay. Super duper. So if you want to reduce pain, use the eyes, use balance, use hearing, use tongue movement, use jaw movement. We've been talking about the eyes today, okay, and head movements, okay, but eyes, big signal into your brain to help relieve pain and to improve overall kind of physical performance. So if you train them regularly, maybe every day, maybe every couple of days, it doesn't take long, even once a week, just for a couple of minutes, you're going to be having a big benefit on the output and the performance of your body. Thank you. Any questions before I hit end record there from those here? Okay, cool. Thank you, Matilde. Be interesting. I'll stop recording.